Hi, Josh here, and I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. This is probably the third video I've released this month. That's a record! Anyway, this video is about the interlocks for the claw build. In case you missed it, last video was about making bushings for the claw. If you didn't go see that, you probably should. I should probably make it easier for you, so click the capacitor to go watch. Click it. Click it now. Hey, click me. Okay, that was... I'm sorry.
The plan.
So we gotta build an interlock to allow the jaws to open and close properly, in a synchronous fashion. So the best way that I figured out to do this was to run a bar from the top of one jaw to the bottom of the other. Now I ran into a couple problems. The first one was I didn't have enough room for the 2-inch bushings that I made. I could have placed them in there, but I was a bit worried that there wouldn't be enough steel surrounding the bushing and that it could tear out. So I had to go with, I believe, 1 3/8, something like that, for the bushing. The other problem is that I had to put the pivot point to the interlock closer to the pivot point to the jaw, which means that it will now be taking on, I believe it was like 30 or 40,000 pounds if I put the one jaw on the ground to open and close. Hopefully that will never happen. It probably won't ever see that much force, which is why I'm somewhat okay with going with the thinner rod for bushings. But it still could happen, so I'm a little worried about it. But nothing I can do about it now. Well, I guess I could build another claw, but it's still working, so that wouldn't make any sense because it's actually done now. I'm recording this after I finished it. Well, it's not completely. Just go watch the rest of the video. I'll still be here stuttering on and on and on and on.
Igor, get my wrench.
Yes, master.
Okay, so the material I chose to use for the interlock is some flat stack I had lying around. I'm cutting it right now. I think it's 3/8 thick. It's fairly thick stuff. I'm using my chop saw to cut it because, well, that's the quickest way. See? Wasn't that fast? Okay, yeah, it's sped up a bit. Well, you guys are so picky. In case you're wondering what the thing is on the left, it's an axle. That's kind of blocking the shot. Sorry about that. Need a cameraman. Oh, and you only saw me cut 3 of them. I did cut 4 of them. I don't know why the video only showed 3. I guess I lost the first one. Okay, so back on the lathe. Yeah, you've seen this before. Bore, cut, bore, cut, bore, cut. It's quite boring. And smoky. I don't know why it's doing that. Trying to cut it off the first bushing. And it's cut. Okay, so now that we got the bushings made, yeah, I know you only saw one. Just repeat it like 16 times and you'll see all the bushings made. I mean, come on, it's nothing I haven't seen before. Anyway, it's time to drill the holes that the bushings are going to go into. Okay, so I was a bit paranoid that it would wander as I drilled, so I decided to drill them all at once. The problem is if it wandered as I was drilling, could have one interlock somewhat shorter than the other, and that could cause binding in the system. That would be bad. I was also just lazy and didn't feel like doing it a couple times. You know, if you listen carefully, I think you can hear the drill bit crying for help. Did survive too. I was quite shocked. Guess that's what WD-40 does. Done one side. Now it's time to do the other. Is it a bad sign that the wood is smoking? At least that's what it looked like. Something was wonky. But yeah, I think the lock for the hole saw kind of slipped and went off center and went goofy. If you didn't notice, the table was vibrating a lot. That's the problem I'm having. Still looking for someone who makes a good hole saw and arbor. Most notably the arbor. I don't know why they're so hard to get right. Probably should have made this video a little smaller, or shorter, or quicker. Still working on pacing. I probably thought I had more intelligent stuff to say, but I don't. Okay, so now it's time to drill the jaws, which I only did 2 at a time. Which is really all I could do. Because one's top, one's bottom, so yeah. Now this is why I didn't just go ahead and weld in the bushings. They would have got annoying with this part. Again, with the hole saw! No good arbor? Unfortunately, that's the best arbor I got. Oh, that's my chop. That's not the arbor's fault. But... okay, so we got all the bushings made, all the holes drilled. Let's see how this thing works. It was a bit cold in the garage. We got heat, but it wasn't keeping up. It was really cold outside. Now, for the pins, I just got some pins at Tractor Supply. I figured that would be easiest. And it works. Unfortunately, the pins from Tractor Supply was not that easy. They were a bit wide. It was a really tight fit in between the 2 side rails for the interlock to go. And the pins are just a little too big. So I had to come up with a different, I had to modify them. But before we get to pin modding, let's tack in the bushings so they don't go anywhere. Now, unlike what I did for the side rails and jaws, I just decided to place them in and put spacers in between the jaw and the one side of the interlock. And then I just tack them in. After I tack them, I welded them. I generally don't do this so quickly. I like to test, make sure these things work, but it was kind of necessary. You might notice that I weld in 4 halves. I weld top, bottom, left, right. This is so that it doesn't shift around as I weld. Now the fun part is welding in the bushings into the jaw because, well, things are somewhat assembled and a bit unwieldy to move. So the side rails the interlock rails are going to be taking a lot of force. To reinforce them, I'm going to be applying steel to the side to kind of make it into a tube. I'm using 1/4-inch plate just because I had it laying around. The flat stock was actually a bit too wide to do that, and a bit unnecessary. So I'm clamping them down so that the bushings are tight against each other. I don't want a lot of play in here. Now I'm tacking these side rails on. And now with the side rails tacked on, I can remove it to weld everything together. I wonder if there's a reward for the most lens flares in a YouTube video. I think I'm up there. Got an email. Somebody just walked by. I don't know who it was. Okay, so now it's time to start messing with those pins that I said about earlier. Now, I'm going to be putting them in and out of the chuck a lot, so I'm going to be changing the chuck to my 3-jaw chuck. Now, I tend not to use this because it's a little messed up, but it's not that precise, so it doesn't really matter. I also included this video so I could say chunk change. Chuck change, chuck change, chuck. Well, I can't say that a whole lot of times fast. You try it. Hard. Okay, so the first step is to remove the end of the pin that has the groove into it, because it's going to be wasted the way I'm doing it. Now I'm cleaning up the end, flipping it around. This is why you got the 3-chuck jaw. And then cutting off the other end. It would be easier if that cutoff bit was actually set properly. Okay, so like everything else on this claw, it's going to be greased. So I put a dimple in it, and so that when I drill, it doesn't move like I've done before. And now I'm drilling the hole for the grease. I'm doing it through the pin because, well, I couldn't do it through the bushings. Now I'm drilling another hole that will go into that first hole that I drilled so that the grease can come out the middle. While I'm here, I'm also going to be drilling the holes that will be tapped to hold some screws to prevent the bushing from coming out. So now it's back on the lathe to move the corner so that it could go slide in easier, and to put the groove in so that the grease can slop around a bit easier. It's sort of the reverse of what I did on the bushings. Now back to the drill press to tap those holes that I just made, so that I can insert some 1/4-20 screws to hold the pins down tight. And then I broke my tap. Oh, I almost forgot. The main bushings for the jaws. I didn't show you. I didn't tack them in the last video, so I figure I'll show you how I did it in this video. Which you can't see because of that big yellow thing blocking the way. You get the idea. I placed some pipe onto the C channel and then tacked it in. So that's it for this video. The interlocks are pretty much done. I still need to insert grease zerk fittings, but I'm not going to get to that until probably a couple of videos afterwards. The next video coming up is going to be about the ram. Why am I dedicating an entire video to installing a hydraulic cylinder into a claw? I guess you're just going to have to watch to find out. Anyway, if you liked it, you know the drill, like, subscribe, share, comment. Nobody's commenting. What? Is it that bad? Is nobody getting to the end part? Is that why? There's dust in here. Anyway, I get distracted easily. Look at all that. good at all the things, just go. And stop. I need to do that without hitting my mic. You need to figure that. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, upcoming projects. Before last one, water cooling a server rack, but I also have to get my front axle done for my Jeep. My bearings are shot, so I didn't pass inspection, so I need to get that done. In case you're not aware, I'm dropping a Dina 60 out of a Ford F-250 pickup truck into my Jeep. Why, you might wonder? Why not? Anyway, I think that's it for this video. Thanks.